Hi everyone, and welcome to a really special car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today we have a 1952 Mercedes-Benz 300D Cabriolet, and it's affectionately known as an Adenauer, Adenauer, in case you want to look that up. I'll get into that in a minute. So this one is going to be lot 237 on CollectorCarCanada.CA, and you can probably hear by my tone of voice that I'm trying to be really respectful of the car. It's just not something I'm around every day. We've sold cars older than this, but maybe not as valuable. So I'm going to do our normal routine for the car review. I'll start it up, pop the hood, we'll have a listen to the 3-liter engine, and then we'll have a listen to the exhaust out the rear, and then we'll take a tour of both the exterior and the interior of the car. So bear with me, I've never started this car. The procedure's a little different than the cars I own, even the German ones. But let's have a listen. There's a key to turn, so I'll turn the key. And then there's a button to press as well. And there's a choke I should probably adjust. Okay, away we go. It is a carbureted engine, as you might expect. So I admit I don't own a carbureted car, and I'm not as familiar with the choke as I could be. But here we are, we're off and running. And I believe I've got the car in neutral. It's a 4-speed manual, shift on the column. And I've just let the clutch out. The car is sitting in neutral with the handbrake on. So I'll come over to the camera and do a handheld camera portion of the video. As I say, we'll start with the engine running, the exhaust, and take a little tour. Okay, so cruising in on the Adenauer's 3-liter single overhead cam engine. It's rounded up to 3 liters. The cc count is just under 3,000, 2,996 if memory serves, but you can check our detailed listing for lot 237 to be sure. So as we see, we've got an inline 6 here. You can see the plugs and the ignition cables down below. Much like the 65 Mercedes we sold recently, the firing order is imprinted right here on the valve covers. And of course we've got the Mercedes emblem right here in front of the oil cap. What I'll do is I'll get the microphone down by the engine itself, and we can get a good listen to it running as it idles. So there's a good listen to the sound of it. Twin Solex carburetor up front. Very tidy engine compartment, as you see. Here's the data plate. It's still sitting there, but we do have photos of it on the detailed listing for lot 237. And just generally speaking, it's a very well kept engine compartment, very presentable. I noticed an AC Delco battery. The reason I checked it out was to confirm that it's a 12-volt system. So the Europeans were a little ahead of the domestic manufacturers. The domestics generally went to 12-volt from 6 in 1955, but this 1952 Adenauer is equipped with a 12-volt system. There's the distributor. So I'll wander around to the rear of the car, and we'll get a listen to the single exhaust and its note. So wandering around the exterior, this is a restored car by RM down in Blenheim, Ontario, just by Chatham. They handled the restoration. It's an older restoration, 15 plus years ago, and the car presents beautifully. There are a couple of blemishes, there are a couple of faults with it that I'll point out. But wandering around to the front is very well presented. The chrome work, the bright work still looks quite fresh. Getting in close, I don't see any pitting or faults. The lenses, while not as clear as today's lenses, that was more the period look in the 50s. And then these indicator lights with chrome support. The indicator light over here on the right is one of the faults I found. So I think that's just been reattached at the top with some kind of adhesive or a glue. So I want to be upfront about this listing, and there's a fault that we did find. But this grille really is glorious. It's got the 3-pointed star and the same Mercedes-Benz emblem we see on modern Mercedes grilles. Cruising around to, the tires are by BF Goodrich. They're wide whites. Please refer to our detailed listing for all the tire data. So we've got a set of color-coded steel wheels with small caps and chrome trim rings. Matching set of tires at all 4 corners. Same wheel at each of the 4 corners as well. Chrome work here extending from the hood. Now that piece of chrome is the same as the gap for the hood. When we had the hood up, you probably noticed that. And a side mirror only on the driver's side here on the 52 Mercedes. And chrome surround on the windshield, chrome support at the base of the folding roof, and chrome on the windshield wiper arms and wipers themselves as well. Chrome surrounding all of the side windows, the door windows. Now you'll note that this is a Cabriolet and that we have the top up. We don't have the owner with us today. One of his representatives is here, and between the representative and I, we decided not to put the top down because neither of us has put a top down on one of these cars before. But as you can see by the condition of the roof, we expect that it's in as fine a condition mechanically and operationally as it looks. The only faults, I guess, are some falling leaves right here and the beautiful residence in front of which we're shooting the video. Now we see these Landau bars on slightly more modern cars as a decorative instrument with this 1952 Mercedes 300D Adenauer. It's actually a functional piece. So you can see there's a hinge there in the center, and that's a support for when the roof is folded down. Getting into the Adenauer part, the German Chancellor post-war was a fellow named Konrad Adenauer. So he really liked being driven around in these cars, and that's how the nickname came about, to call this an Adenauer. In the entire run of the car, only under 600 were produced. I believe the number is 591. So a very rare car in the 50s, much less today. So that 3-liter engine was single overhead cam, as I mentioned, and it was good originally for 110 horsepower. We did just take the car for a little ride, so we do have some driving videos on the detailed listing, and you can hear the driver rowing through the gears. I think we got up to 3rd gear on the drive. He actually let the throttle open up a little bit more when we were not shooting, but we had a very placid set of driving videos. So please take a look at those. And there's a good look at the driver's side rear. And again, BF Goodrich. I'm trying to read the emblem, Silvertown radials. So radial tires on the car. Again, more detail on the detailed listing, lot 237. Working our way around. Now this is actually the indicator light for the rear, matching set on either side. So yeah, the indicators are up high. Beautiful 3-pointed star on the rounded trunk. And there's a little surprise in the trunk. Wait till I show you that, but I'll do that in a minute. Now I have to get to the bad news part of the car. This is very fresh. While the car was being moved around in preparation for the sale, there was a mishap. The owners started the ball rolling to replace the lens, but I think the car is going to be sold with the the blemish in the bumper that you see. There are some close-up stills of it on the detailed listing, so please take a look at those. So I was really sad to find that this morning. I saw the car a couple of days ago, and that was not there. So there's a 300 badge to indicate the model, and then a single exhaust pipe here on the right side. And there's a look at the taillight lenses intact. So as I say, there's a little surprise in here in the trunk. So not only do we have a clean trunk, but the original Carl beige luggage originally included with the car is included. So there are 2 suitcases. I took a look at them. I think they're identical in size. There's just a difference in the depth of the trunk, and that's why they're staggered in the picture. And inside one of them are the original clothes hangers that came with the luggage. Detailed photos of those on our detailed listing, so please take a look. Otherwise, 2 spares on the steel wheels, also painted the color of the car. And we've got some more specific photos of all the contents of the trunk on the detailed listing, as I say. And even the trunk lid looks pretty darn clean as well. So I'll close that up. So there's a good look at the rear on the passenger side. I took a look at the gas door earlier. Everything looked clean there. I took a photo of with the gas cap removed as well. And here is also the last imperfection I wanted to show you. Not the last imperfection I wanted to show you, the last imperfection I found. I'm just pulling out my Toonie here to give you a sense of perspective. There's a small dent here, and it's been touched up. So again, we've got detailed stills of this imperfection on the listing for lot 237. Working our way around the car. Glass rear window, and you can see the Secure It label there. So much like a Porsche 928 we recently had, this car has certainly the original branded glass with the car. The windshield is by Sigla, and then the other 5 panes of glass are by Secure It. And I've seen that commonly on German cars where the windshield is Sigla and the rest of the glass is Secure It. We do have photos of the emblems of the glass manufacturers on the detailed listing. I got, again, lot 237. There's a good look at the Silvertown radio by BF Goodrich for the passenger rear. Painted steel wheel, chrome trim ring, and the Mercedes cap. Even the door handles and the latch for the trunk look quite clean in terms of chrome. I don't see any pitting on them. And there's another good look at that Landau piece for the Cabriolet roof. You can see the antenna is folded down here. We have a picture of it elevated on the detailed listing. So that's a good look at the exterior of the car. I think maybe it's time to take a look at the inside. Right now we've got the driver's window down. We don't want to lock the keys in the car, and the rest of the windows are up. I did test the windows previous to shooting, and actually we had them up and down for our photos. But no trouble at all with the window cranks. So interior very, very presentable, and a matching pale green. Another neat German car. I find this in a lot of German cars. The map pocket, which folds up. There's a set of vinyl protective mats here, and then the carpets down below, which are very presentable. Door sills also quite clean, and the leather is quite supple, soft. It does have kind of an old car smell to it. I wish I could illustrate that for you in the video, but of course I can't. And there's an emblem in the seat recliner, the seat adjustment. Interestingly, there's no armrest for the front passengers, but there is one in the rear. We have it folded down in a photo on the detailed listing. No seat belts from the factory, and they have not been added. So a good look at the instrumentation of the car. There's a speedometer in miles per hour with a maximum reading of 120. Odometer down below reads 28,344. True mileage unknown. And there's a small trip odometer down below, and you can see the dials down below to adjust that. On the left side of the speedometer, there's an oil pressure and a coolant temperature gauge, while on the right side there's fuel and amperage. Beautiful, what I believe to be an original radio in the car by Becker. And I'm just reading some of the labels on it. I read Daventry, Sydney, Brazzaville, and Soundbrook, Oslo, Vatican, Moscow, Motala, and London. And with some preset buttons. The VDO, I didn't mention that the instrumentation is by VDO, something you still see in modern German cars. The clock, while beautifully presentable, is only correct twice a day. The clock has not been running since we arrived today to the car. And there's a good look at the HVAC, and that's the hood release there. Beautiful appointed wood on the dash and all the tops of all of the doors. The wood really is in beautiful condition. I don't find fault with it, and there's wood surrounding the windshield on the interior as well. Each of the front occupants is treated to a handle for ingress and egress, and the visors really are something from another time. And the glove box, I did open the glove box earlier, no problems at all right there. Quite generous too, actually, and nice and clean. So, working our way, here's an emblem with some vehicle data. We also have photos of that and vehicle data from under the hood on the detailed listing. Again, lot 237, so please have a look. And just as clean here for the rear passengers. Again, no belts. I'll demonstrate this armrest for you too. I didn't want to use the handle. I didn't want to mess it up. So beautiful matching armrest with the soft, supple leather interior and matching carpets. Little look at the parcel shelf in behind, again with matching broadloom, and there's even a wood surround on the rear window. Taking a look at the door cards for the rear doors, just as pretty with the green and the wood trim, and each side's door is equipped with an ashtray, and opening it up, that's the only pitting I've seen on chrome, and it's on the inside of the ashtray, not the outside. So I'll just wander around the car one more time, and then we'll move over to some closing thoughts. It really is a stunning piece. Only 591 were built, and I suspect there are fewer than 591 in existence today. So beautiful green with the tan colored roof. There's also a parade boot for the top for when it's down. There are photos of that folded up on the detailed listing, and various other little accessories and pieces of data. So moving to some closing thoughts. So there's a good look at a car we're really excited to have. It really feels like we've arrived when we get a piece like this. So again, it's a 1952 Mercedes-Benz 300D Cabriolet, known as an Adenauer, because the German chancellor at the time liked to be driven around in one, and that was his surname. Konrad Adenauer kind of made this car famous. One of 591 for the entire model run originally. I don't know how many are left, but it's got to be a lower number than that. Lot 237 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Please do take a good look at our detailed listing. Lots of photos, paragraph form, and some other videos to supplement this one, including some driving videos. Thank you for watching, and on to the next car.